What is going on, everybody? It is episode 764 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Today, once again, Phil is joining us. Happy to have you back.
Hello, everybody. My name's Phil Labonte, and I'm the only person that'll come here and hang out with these two.
It's really true.
Literally,
Everybody
no
just-
one else is willing to tolerate us for 2 hours.
Yeah,
like Kellen, he showed up and he was guesting for us, and then we get like 20 minutes in, and he's like,
I gotta go.
I gotta go, and just literally bolted.
Just left.
Oh, man.
He
He
just
just
left.
couldn't stand us anymore. That's what he told us after he
You know-
left.
you know what it is?
You guys were too annoying.
You know what it is like, okay, so if you don't know the geography of where we work, you know, we're on the ground floor here. There's people upstairs working. What it is they hear the Crisis Party, and they've just grown to hate us more and more
I
every
would
time
too.
that thing goes off. So if you guys want to help annoy everyone who's working upstairs, you should get us till 5 Crisis Parties today so that you can help annoy everybody 5 times and make our day that much better.
I like the dance.
Yep.
We have groundbreaking information, first off, about Brett.
Oh, yes, I do have fantastic news. I don't know if anybody here follows me on X, but so I was at the orthopedic. I was at an orthopedics earlier to get my shoulder looked at because I tore the AC joint in my left shoulder. And scheduled an appointment far out. It took forever to get in there. And I got some groundbreaking information when they were doing my intake, which is that I have spent my entire life believing that I am 5 foot 5 inches tall. But I found out today that nay, that is not true. I am actually, in fact, 5 foot 6 inches tall. I have adjusted my sense of...
No, not just that. 5'6.5".
Yeah, I didn't say that part because it sounds like you're rounding up. But no,
really,
the guy said 5'6.5". But the thing
So
is,
you might as well just tell people you're 5'7" at this point. Like,
you know what it is all those guys, you know, who's ruined it for
5'8"
everybody.
in shoes.
Yeah, so I was 5'7" in shoes, and I was like, that's not right. I'm not 5'7". And I was like, he's like, well, he's like, well, you're probably 5'6", and I'm like, I don't think so.
Let's use Tinder logic, okay?
Yeah.
You're 5'6.5". You put 5'7", then it means you're 5'8" in shoes.
Let's go with that. Yeah. So,
Easy.
but I took the shoes off. He goes 5'6.5", and I go like, my whole world just opened up. Like,
Yeah.
it's a whole new day for me. Who knows? Anything
No
could
longer
happen.
a short king.
I can adjust my sense of self-worth and confidence accordingly with this new information.
I really hope that your height never impacted your self-worth
no.
and confidence.
No, luckily, between skating and everything that I did, never in my life did it really ever matter to me, or did it ever seem like something that was all that important.
Yeah, I never wanted to play basketball either.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm just like, we were joking about this earlier. You're like walking out of the doctor's office and you're like, whoa, almost hit my head on the door frame.
Oh my gosh, it was fantastic. And if you are wondering,
So our guitar player that passed away, Ollie, he was 6'3", right? And
Okay.
I am not even close
Yeah.
to that. He used to bash his head on everything imaginable, and I would always laugh and laugh and laugh because I never hit my head on anything.
yeah,
Well, the world is not built for tall people.
Well, I told you the story that one time where I was at a Walmart and an old lady asked me to get something off a shelf for her, and I did, and it just made my day. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. Not 2 aisles later, I was about to grab something off a higher shelf, and somebody asked me if I needed help and just ruined it.
Yeah.
I didn't need help.
It's a poetic justice
Oh,
to
it was awful. It was awful, guys. But with that new confidence, we have a bunch of stuff to get into today. But before we get started, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? It is not a tall order to ask you to subscribe. In fact, it is very easy to go and subscribe. Again, like the video, share the video out with your friends, your family, your loved ones, people you like, people you don't like, short friends, tall friends, everyone in between. The more people that you share it with, the faster this channel can grow. So what are we getting into today? Well, first things first, an actress named Carla Sofia Gascon, who is in Amelia Perez, right?
Yeah.
See, she is the first trans woman to be nominated for Best Actress at the Oscars.
Nominated for an Oscar.
At all.
At all.
Yeah.
But specifically Best Actress, which implies that, of course, if you identify as a woman, you can compete with biological women for said awards.
What is weird, too, because actors, from what I've always understood, they don't like being called actor or actress. They prefer to just be called actor
They should all be called actrix.
Yeah, with an X. So we are going to talk about that. There's been a bunch of people responding. So Demi Lovato has things to say about Trump's recent comments or his recent stuff involving DEI. And
well, he just declared from the Oval Office that there are 2 genders. Shocker.
Shots fired.
I already knew that, but
No.
Thanks for
Listen,
clarifying.
There are 0 genders. There are 2 sexes, right? All
Okay, yes.
gender is
The
is
spirit
your,
of the law, though.
your sexual spirit, which is just what it's like your horny ghost. Leave it alone. It is 2 sexes.
Whoa. That's
what it
one way to
sounds
put
like.
it.
So we're going to talk about that, and also Ariana Grande is mad at him as well. So we're going to
Yes.
talk about that. We're also going to talk about Bonnie Blue and Lily James. They're in a slut off to try and see
Not
who can...
Lily James, Lily Phillips. We're not going
Did I
to
say
defame
Lily
Lily
James?
James today.
Same thing.
But yes, the
Lily
2
Phillips.
Yeah, 2 horsemen of the OnlyFans apocalypse.
But as so last week,
Horse hose.
last
hose.
week, I saw people having a conversation online. They said, yes, we know that the women are doing disgusting things, but what about the men? What about these men that are participating in this? So we have got more information on that.
Look, men are disposable anyway, so those men don't even need to be named. They can all just be cast into the void.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to talk about it.
Well, a lot of them actually, surprisingly, decided to go mask off and give interviews to the media, exposing their true identities. So
Does that mean that she has the record for having sex with the most mentally disabled people at the same time? Why would you do that? You have to be a complete retard to do that.
well, we'll get into it.
So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about, it seems to be a turning of the tide in Hollywood. A lot of these, people in charge of these companies, whether we're talking about Jeff Bezos over at Amazon, Bob Iger, all of them, they seem to be changing their minds just a little bit on Trump, and they're willing to work with him because they said, look, Biden didn't do anything to help us. I mean, frankly, I think you guys should save yourselves, but that's just my personal opinion. We're going to look at this article. It is very interesting to see how things have turned around for them. So, Mary, if you're ready, we can get started. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Phil.
Let's go.
All right, let's go.
If you ask the experts, men who cry are better in bed than the rest of the male population.
What are the experts? Who are the experts?
We'll get into it. According to Marina Lazarus, a so-called sexpert, relationship expert, and author of the book Men Need Love Too, claims that men who cry are the best lovers. So she claims the fine line between vulnerability and masculinity is the biggest challenge for men in today's society.
I feel like a Justin Baldoni speech is coming out of nowhere here.
Literally, Justin Baldoni is the epitome of that trope of
Who's
the
Justin
hot
Baldoni?
male
He's
feminist.
He's the one who's currently going back and forth with Ryan Reynolds' wife about this movie that they did. There's a whole bunch of discourse back and
You
forth.
referring to Blake Lively as
Blake
Ryan
Li-
Reynolds' wife
well,
is...
I don't know if he knows who Blake Lively is. I know he knows who Ryan Reynolds.
I know who Blake Lively
Phil's
is.
hip with the young people. Okay.
She's not young either, though. Not that she's old, but she's not like a Gen Zer. She's like my age.
She explains that finding a man who is in touch with his emotions will allow you to find the catch of a lifetime rather than just a day. And Gen Z seems to be catching on to this trend, as many young women are swiping right on nice guys who are in touch with their feminine side. This is horrifying. A brunch-loving, feelings-having type of guy known as baby girl, such as actor Jacob Elordi, for instance.
I mean, it's always weird when they use like some actor as like an archetype for this, as if you actually know who that person is. You're just basing it off his physical appearance, not off anything you might actually know about him.
I recall when we were talking about Gen Z's love of men who exude baby girl energy, that Jacob Elordi was the #1 example of that because he's willing to, wear corsets and jewelry.
He's willing to go to brunch with you.
And look effeminate.
He's going to go to brunch with you and listen to your girlfriends gab and not shut up. That's what he's going to do.
I will defend brunch, though.
Okay.
I will defend brunch till the day I die.
Look, there is nothing that is in any way male or female about having meals.
No. No, but it just seems like women are generally the ones who just effing love brunch and bring their boyfriends.
That's because they're lazy and don't want to get out of bed early.
Yeah. Or you say that.
Or what was it? It was like a Bill Burr. He's like, I don't want to pay $27 for eggs.
But it's about the bottomless mimosas.
Is it really? Is it about alcoholism?
Yeah.
I didn't know that women were more prone to alcoholism. I thought that men were more prone to alcoholism.
I actually don't know.
Not that women are immune, but I thought that men were more prone
I
to
think the definition of what masculine is changing, says a matchmaker.
This is
It's
Adam Cohen, the director of his own matchmaking service, claims that some traditional norms are shifting. Masculinity today is not about being a tough guy, but about being honest, respectful, protective, and emotionally expressive.
I mean, I guess it depends on what you consider protective, right? Like, it's kind of hard to be protective if you don't at least have a little bit of a rough side.
The question is, will that get you divorced? Because honestly, it's like you can be like, oh, look, this is what attracts women. But what women, first of all, are they on SSRIs and are they on birth control, first of all? And second of all, do they stay with you when they get off of those drugs?
Yeah.
And if they are attracted to you when they're not on any of those drugs, like, is that what is masculine? The idea that masculinity is changing, I think, is ridiculous. What's really changing is the women that are deciding what is masculine, and they're changing because of increased levels of depression, because of societal pressures, because of this, that, and the other thing. But what is masculine is not changing. And at the end of the day, the women that tend to be happiest are the women that stay with the guy and have families, and they tend to be attracted to traditionally masculine men.
So it's not about changing the definition of masculine. It's about actually trying to change what it is women are attracted to, even if that is not a masculine thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not about changing the definition of masculinity. It's more so what they're doing here is encouraging men to adapt to what women today find attractive, which is generally not traditional masculinity. But it's really the women who are defective for being attracted to the wrong things.
About 31% of American men have actively changed their behavior to become more vulnerable and open with people they are dating, according to Bumble in 2024.
Yeah, this was according to Bumble's 2024 Dating Trends Report. 31% of American men have actively changed their behavior to become more vulnerable with the people they're dating. And they also reported that 25% of men found this newfound openness has had a positive impact on their emotional state.
I mean,
this is what men wanted all along? I don't know.
Positive because they're now single again and can focus on themselves because the women don't actually want a guy who's super open and vulnerable all the time.
I came to a realization that men can be okay with being single more than women can.
I mean, again, I'm gonna pull the card here. It's for the purpose of the podcast, but I understand the law of averages. I'm not going against the law of averages, but I knew a lot of people, both men and women, that were the ones that were just serial. They were always not like short-term relationships. They were in long-term relationships, 4, 5, 6 years. But then as soon as they got out of it, I'm like, bro, like, take a break, right into the next 4, 5, 6 year relationship. And it was like, just can't sleep alone at night. Apparently.
There are a lot of people like that, but generally, men are the ones who are more able to exist and adapt in solitude compared to women.
Yeah.
And women, no matter what's going on in their lives, they can probably make room for a relationship if it's the right one. Yeah. Like, they will just shift their priorities for the right relationship. Men, however, whether it's because they just feel like they're not ready or they have some kind of self-deprecating mindset that they aren't good enough to be in a relationship yet, or they haven't reached certain milestones yet that they would feel.
I mean, that's a big thing now that a lot of guys are talking about is like, when will I? And there's different schools of thought on that. Some of it's like, look, you're never going to be as ready as you think you need to be.
No.
Others say, have certain things in order if you want to be able to provide what you feel you need to be able to provide to be the best you can be in a relationship. And it's usually never that simple. It's somewhere in the middle.
Men are now more comfortable showing who they are emotionally, their authentic selves, and letting their personalities shine through instead of putting up barriers or worrying about being too emotionally expressive. This is women's interpretation of men's interior emotional state. Because obviously, if you're a woman, you cannot possibly relate to the experience of being a man. I am going to live my entire life having no clue what it's like to be a man.
What makes a
I
guy
can try
laugh?
to piece it together by asking questions, but I'm never going to understand it.
Where humor comes from men and women is vastly different based on their lived experience.
Or even women are never going to understand male friendship, which is why they project the norms of female friendships onto male friendships and propose the idea that male friendships are in a state of crisis right now because they don't do the same things that women do when they're friends. They don't talk about their feelings that much. And that's not necessarily a problem.
No.
Because they're men, and this needs to be reiterated so often, men and women are different.
I'm going to call a little bit of BS on the article because I was looking for the raw data, if you will, about how this made men better in bed, but I saw no such evidence in this article.
I looked further into it. This whole conversation was kicked off because of a scene in Love Island, UK.
Where you go for all of the deep thoughts on humanity.
One of the contestants on Love Island named Luca cried in response to his girlfriend on the show crying. And there were all of these women fawning over him for seeming so intelligent and self-aware. One said, Luca went from being a dick to Tash, his girlfriend, for crying, to becoming an intelligent, self-aware man who is in touch with his emotions. Seeing Luca cry was deep. Didn't ever think I would feel for this guy.
But the point is, they just said he went from being a dick. So, like, he's already established that he can be a dick, that he can be hard, he can defend them is being emotional because she has broken through. It's straight up Beauty and the Beast.
I see.
You know?
Yeah, that's interesting that you brought that up because then the sexpert, Marina Lazarus, said, Luca's tears are gorgeous. Scenes of women comforting men with tenderness have the potential to redefine intimacy on screen. They challenge outdated notions of masculinity and celebrate vulnerability as internal strength to create deeper intimacy.
They did nothing like that at all. Because
that
they
was her
established,
interpretation.
and she's full of crap. He established if he comes off as a dick in the beginning, he establishes the masculine thing, the jerk going after the bad guy, blah blah blah. All that is very typical. All of that is cookie cutter stuff, right? The jerk can defend them. The jerk has it in him to stand up to the world. And then when he's soft for her, that is the look. She got into his heart. And so he's this hard, mean, blah, 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 tough guy. And she softens his heart. And women then go ahead and they put themselves in her place. And they're like, that's what I want. The jerk that's not a jerk to me. He's a jerk to everybody else. He could go ahead and kill everybody in the village, but he comes up to me and he just lifts my head up with the tip of his sword. That's exactly the same dynamic that women want. It's not about new kind of masculinity at all. This is just people seeing it for the first time, and they're like, oh, look, it's different now. No, it's not. You're just stupid.
Yeah, and women definitely don't want to be put in the position where they have to be that, like, caregiver, where they have to, like, regulate a man's emotions for him, and they have to be the comforter all the time, and they have to basically be emotionally in charge. They don't like that. So
if he presented himself, if the first time she ever saw him, or any of these people ever saw him, was him being emotional, immediate desert in the pants, immediate dry spell, immediately, oh, I've got the ick. He's not attractive.
It's
no matter
the
what
Sahara Desert.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this sexpert came up with 8 signs to notice in a man which prove he is the best in bed. Number 1 being he isn't afraid to cry. He doesn't need to prove his masculinity. He is a man who is good at listening. He wants to talk. He wants to talk about his emotions. Those are just a few that she came up with.
Okay.
But, I mean, anyone can just call themselves an expert on just
true.
about anything. There is one particular tough guy, a self-proclaimed masculinity guru named Justin Waller, who recently admitted the only thing that will make him cry. I want to show this clip.
I sent this to Mary yesterday. Refresh
This is his big confession.
When is the last time that you cried?
When every kid hit those threes.
If you want me to cry, it's going to be out of joy for somebody else.
When is
There's actually a longer form discussion for that, but yeah.
I'm sure that as a masculinity guru, he's one of the ones who would say you should never cry in front of a woman. That's an immediate death, like death knell for a relationship. I don't think it's as black and white as that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, I don't think it's as black and white as that. Plus, most people in these spheres try to give a lot of like macro scale advice on something that is usually very tailored to a specific discussion where they don't know your specific relationship with whoever you're in a relationship with. And if you take the broad strokes of somebody's advice and try to apply it very, acutely to your relationship, that's not going to work if you don't actually understand why things are the way they are in your own life and in your own relationship. So
Next, we're going to talk about a tragic story, which is so absurd that you will have to forgive me for cracking a smile or chuckling about this. Honestly, it's so
tragic
insane.
Stories are the best to laugh about.
A man was caught in a viral, humiliating moment, and shortly after, I mean, literally the same day, he took his own life, probably in fear of exactly what happened, that this video would make its rounds on social media and he would be exposed for being a sex offender. This man went to a drive-through coffee shop, which is called Bikini Beans. I think you can guess the business model here.
it was weird when Mary told me about this. I was like, oh, they do that in Landman. So in the show Landman, there's a drive-through coffee place where the women wear bikinis.
This is a real thing. It's like Hooters or Twin Peaks, these different restaurants. These women, the baristas, wear bikinis and they make you coffee. That's the whole business model. And I assume most of their customers are men. But what most of their customers don't do is show up to the business not wearing pants and masturbating in their car in front of the employees. That's what this man did. Yeah. And it was actually a repeat offender type of situation. He was known in the area and people were warning about him in Facebook posts. So
he
when
was
he was like
a local
up,
menace.
Yes.
Okay.
When he showed back up to this location, an employee of Bikini Beans walked out and started recording him with her phone. As you can see in this video, we'll show it. There's nothing graphic here, but you can see.
This one?
Yeah. This is.
Hi, how are you? Good. Have you been here before?
Yeah.
Sir, you need to leave. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Call 911.
Yeah.
And there he immediately drove away as soon as he knew that he got caught. And then shortly after, shot himself.
That is insane.
He was a 27-year-old father and husband. He took his own life a day after a woman exposed him online for not wearing pants at a Bikini Beans drive-thru in Arizona. His name was Nautica Malone. He was seen without pants in the video the day before his death. His family is now calling for justice in this situation. I don't know what that would look like. Seems like he walked himself right into this one.
What was it about this story that like kind of hit you? Because I mean, it's not necessarily something we normally cover, but you were like pretty gung ho about covering it. It's like was it just kind of shocking, the brazenness of it?
You can tell that these days people are so anxious about being recorded. Everyone has a camera in their pocket and they could catch you in one of your lowest moments. For instance, that even happened to Tiffany Gomez, who had the viral plane meltdown. And still, she's never explained the full story behind why she was having this meltdown on a plane in public.
Anything, it was like a Xanax and too many like wine spritzers.
Right.
Wine spritzers.
I don't know, whatever.
That's what she's embarrassed about the wine spritzers.
She's embarrassed about what she was drinking. She's like, if it was whiskey, I would tell people.
Okay.
We have a 20 from Weary Traveler. All coffee shops will be owned and operated by Mary going forward after the societal collapse. No more Bikini Beans. Yeah, not to say that I endorse the existence of Bikini Beans or the women working there for what they do, but obviously his part in this situation is more to blame.
I just feel like we live in a culture that's so ADHD now that this would have just disappeared from everyone's brains in like 30 seconds. I really do.
I've been seeing people talk about it.
Like, I just imagine it disappearing.
Because the weird part is that the video went viral
Well, I mean,
before people even found out that he took his life.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, but like a month goes by and there's 30 more stories that are just as bad, worse, or the news cycle is insane. So you just forget about it. And yeah, it's humiliating for the guy, but it puts a lot of pressure on you right off the bat because he's terrified that his life is over.
Police said the employee told her manager as he rolled up to the drive-through window, still naked from the waist down. The manager whipped out her phone and recorded a video of him. The video was subsequently uploaded to social media and quickly spread online, with millions of viewers commenting and accusing Malone of inappropriately touching himself in front of the manager. He then drove to the city of Goodyear, Arizona, and shot himself in the head, according to Maricopa County Medical Examiner. Tempe police tell TMZ on the night of his suicide, members of his family showed up at the coffee shop and were aggressive with the staff, stating that Malone had killed himself over the incident. TMZ reached out to the owner of Bikini Beans, Ben Lyles, who tells us, "Our thoughts and prayers are with the family of the individual involved during this difficult time. This was an unfortunate and tragic situation. As a company, the safety of our employees is always our top priority. In this case, an individual chose to commit a crime at one of our locations. We take incidents like this very seriously and remain committed to protecting our team and maintaining a safe and respectful environment."
Yeah.
He really isn't a sympathetic figure here.
No, but I guess they're saying the family is
But
at least...
for some reason, his family is denying everything, even though it's right there on video, and he was doing this multiple times.
Yeah.
I get it, like family loyalty and all that, but they're going to go back to the location and then continue harassing the same employees that caught him in the act.
Yeah.
That's insane behavior. I saw this one tweet. "More men could learn from the car gooner. No fuss, no podcast, no crying about getting canceled, just straight to ending it." So some people are celebrating the fact that he ended his life.
That's a bit...
That's too much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not going to lose any sleep over
They're saying
it.
no podcasts. Like, he didn't go on some podcast to explain his side of the story.
Not like Tiffany Gomez
Yeah,
did.
like, he goes on with Patrick Bet-David to be like, no, this is what really happened.
Like, they stole my pants.
Yeah, that's what it was.
You didn't see the context.
It's like, actually, I was changing.
No, there's no context that could actually excuse his behavior in this situation.
Who is the actress? I remember reading some IMDb entry about an actress who, like, got pulled over while she was like, driving and changing on the way from, like, set, and had to, like, tell the cop as the cop came up to the window, like, please go away for a second. I'm naked. Like, I forget who it was, but...
Sounds like you shouldn't be driving and changing at the same time. That's
Yeah.
unsafe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, stories like this are kind of... like, I was just surprised that this is one that you wanted to talk about, because I guess these are the ones that I feel like you end up on whatever sites, whether it's like, not Page 6, but like... an Indie 100 or a Dexerto or any of those sites, right? There's at least one story like this every few days. Not necessarily this
Not to
specifically,
this degree,
but ridiculous
sure.
in their nature.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess the thing that really sets this apart from the other ones is the tragic ending.
Right.
More so than the, like, stories of perverted people in public is nothing new, but I guess it was the swift nature in which it came to a conclusion.
It's just like, what did you think was going to happen? How deranged and out of touch with reality do you have to be to think that you can do that with zero consequences?
I don't know.
In this situation, he would have completely deserved to get publicly shamed. But that's what he was doing to escape that response.
Yeah.
And I see so many people say, you know, I'm not going to, like, hit on a girl at a bar because she's going to pull out her phone and record me and post it on TikTok, and then I'm going to get humiliated in front of the entire planet.
Well, as long as you're wearing pants.
Just
I'm
think
sure
about this
you'll be
situation.
fine.
Like, the next time your mind goes to the worst case scenario, think about what happened to this guy.
Perspective is important.
You're not this guy. You're actually wearing pants. And just keep in mind This happened to him because of his behavior. If you're doing something completely normal, you are not going to get publicly shamed for it.
Look, if you're out in public, you must be wearing pants.
Yes.
That is a very safe, very reasonable rule. Like, honestly, now
Unless
look,
you're at a pride parade. Apparently, all bets are off then.
I am doubling down on my earlier assertion that if you're out in public, you must be wearing pants. Okay? Look, I'm going to say this, and this is not something I'm endorsing, but homeboy probably would not have killed himself if he was wearing pants. Even if he was doing something gross like had his hand in his pants, he probably would have been able to play it off,
He'd be like,
and he
I
wouldn't have killed. Yeah,
I was
he
fixing
wouldn't
my
have killed himself.
boxers. I was fixing my briefs. What are you
Don't
talking
leave the house without pants on.
Always probably good advice.
Always wear pants.
And Mary, you're correct that for the most part, as long as you've got pants on while you're asking her out, it's probably not going to be that bad.
It's going to be okay, folks.
It's like that. Was that one video that one like Jordan the Stallion made where it's like it's the clip. It's like the worst she can say is no, and he's like no 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 no. He's like, I remember going up to like the most popular girl in high school and asking her to prom. She goes, that must have been very hard for you. She basically like patted him on the head for taking the risk and then like walked away without saying anything.
You're so brave.
You're so brave for doing that. That's insane. All right.
You can have just a fraction of the audacity of someone like this. I think you're good.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Multiple anonymous Twitter accounts seem to be dedicated to pop culture news, but instead have taken to waging war on Donald Trump. And these are accounts that we often go to curate information for this show. Their names are Pop Crave and Pop Base, but there are many others that are similar in their business model. And I've noticed, especially in the past few days, half or more than half of their posts are not announcing things about pop stars or actors or movies. They're announcing things about Donald Trump's executive orders or the inauguration or other political matters.
The thing that's interesting about it is the bit, like, for instance, if you're in this sphere, right, like politics and pop culture, they intersect more often than a lot of people would care to admit. And depending on where your area of focus is, it's going to come up more than others. It does come up a lot for us because what we do is tell you news stories and then give our thoughts and analysis of it. What sites like Pop Crave do, and the reason they're so popular is they're not really there to give analysis. They're just there to give you general updates. So you've only got so much space on the timeline. Now, if you're writing intellectual think pieces like a Vox or something, if, as much as you want to call that intellectual, that makes sense, right? You take something that crosses barriers and then you make an analysis of it. They're like, look, you've got so many posts in a day that people are going to be able to click on. They're dedicating a lot of space to things that don't really intersect with pop culture at all.
Right. Pop Crave is very explicitly a pop culture news outlet. Pop Base calls itself your number one resource for pop culture news, and yet a huge portion of their posts are political.
I mean, they
in
could
nature.
very easily make a separate site called Crave Politics, and they'd probably do.
Would it do well?
I think it would.
Or do you need to present this information under the guise of pop culture to reel in Gen Z who generally wouldn't consume this type of news? We have another 20 from Jose Quintana. Happy Thursday, Brett, Empress, and Phil. Just saw Den of Thieves 2, much better than I anticipated. Twists and turns, I recommend The Guy Who Ended All Things, A Human Tragedy. Long live PCC.
Thank you, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. I watched The Count of Monte Cristo last night. It was fantastic. I had never fully seen the 2002 Jim Caviezel, Guy Pearce one. It was really good.
I just saw a tweet from Pop Crave on the day of the inauguration announcing, as Donald Trump was signing 78 executive orders his first day, Donald Trump has rescinded executive orders made by Joe Biden that benefited the following marginalized groups: women, LGBTQ plus community, Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders.
Benefited them over who?
See, they're presenting this as objective information, and yet all of the posts have a certain slant to them. Even the photos that they choose of Donald Trump have a certain ideological slant to them. And I just felt the need to remind them, you're a pop culture news outlet. why should I follow you if this is what's going to be on my timeline?
I mean, people in the chat are going to say this as well. They're going to say, "Well, you guys talk about politics. Why shouldn't they?" I think it's a fair question. Like, why?
Well, what we do is cultural commentary, and when that naturally intersects with politics, I don't see any sort of contradiction there.
Yep.
But when they're presenting this news outlet as a pop culture news outlet that is unbiased, unslanted, just presenting the information, and then hypocritically posing it in a certain way, that's where I see a contradiction.
It is also interesting because I think the mode of how they deliver the information is relevant too. Because look, giving updates about album releases or when a new movie is coming out or showing a trailer fits within the context of like a small tweet, whereas politics, if you're talking about information, you're thinking long form articles and analysis, and you're not really seeing a lot of that there.
But they're presenting it to an audience that is always going to respond to that information in a certain way.
And they do have their own like inside joke on those pages where when they present something, it's like Donald Trump does this, it says, explain it in pop terms. Which is, for the people who don't understand, anything about politics, it's a good way to reel them in for the way they believe, for the things they believe.
So Pop Base allegedly is run by one individual woman. No one knows exactly who she is. Her identity remains a mystery. But Pop Crave is an actual company with employees, and we do know who runs it. Pop Crave is run by Will Cosme, who founded the media company in December of 2015. It's headquartered in Miami and operates a Twitter account that goes viral due to its frequent posting.
Is it Will Cosme, or is that a clever nickname for the man that actually runs it?
Who knows?
Bill Cosby.
I think it's Cosme. I thought it was Cosme.
Cosme? Who knows?
Cosme.
I've never even seen a video of him. I've never seen a picture of him.
He's got a private Instagram page.
And here's the thing: like we
have 220s though.
They have to put out more. They have to be more than one person uploading because they put out an insane amount.
He
of
has
tweets.
a team of employees, and they do have an actual website, unlike Popbase. Jose Quintana said, "Count of M." May check it out, Brett. Ghost Empress, as a woman, what is an appropriate legal punishment for men who do that in public? A fine, jail time, any shame, embarrassment. Truly, Empress, what?
What is the proper penalty, Mary, for the previous story?
I think the gallows would be fitting for that crime, if we still had those. Pop Culture Junkie said, I figure you folks are the perfect people to ask this question to. Do you think the definition of what is considered pop culture has narrowed or widened in the last 10 years?
Widened.
For sure.
That's actually a very interesting thing to discuss. Hold on one second.
Thank you.
There's another 20 there. Hold, please. But hold on. Let's So that's actually an interesting point of discussion, because one of the things that happens a lot on this channel is people have their own definition of what they consider to be pop culture. And then when you don't cover that specific thing that they want you to cover, they ask, why are you talking about this? It's not even pop culture. Well, one of the things that we've kind of come to understand is, like, if we're talking about my generation, you're talking about movies and television, IP, franchises. But if you're talking about Mary's generation, you're talking about TikTok and social media and trends and influencers. And the whole point is to kind of bridge the gap and be able to cover all of it as best you can.
Right. The whole existence of our channel and the eclectic nature of what we cover on this channel is a testament to the widening of what's still considered pop culture now compared to maybe 10, 20 years ago.
And in this space, you actually suffer upload-wise, because most YouTube channels benefit from a narrow frame of focus, meaning that you have your niche, you go after that audience with with that specific topic, and you build a loyal following, because a lot of people, to go search, you have to be really interested in something to go search out content for it, right? Not just something you come across while scrolling, but something that you care enough to go into a search bar and type, I want to know about this, I want to know about that. But when you have a wide frame of focus, it actually can make it harder for people to get into your channel, because they don't want to necessarily wade through 5 videos to find something that they're interested in.
We have another 20 from No Boost for You. Hi, PCC. My first super chat is divine. Help my daughter reach her Girl Scout cookie sales goal at yourcookiedealer.com. Much love.
Look, man,
really cute.
it's hard to knock cookies, man.
Despite my
I am not going to fund the Girl Scouts. I'm sorry, but I wish her the best of luck.
Despite my inherent disdain for, free child labor that comes from Girl Scouts, I hope you reach your goal.
The utterly ubiquitous
just like
updates
cookies.
issued by Pop Crave and Pop Base on celebrities, film, music, and greater pop culture effectively form Twitter's de facto news service, breaking timely stories as disparate as A-list breakups and bills being signed into law. Now, Pop Crave has been called the ESPN of pop music. And
They do focus heavily on music even more than any other type of pop culture.
yeah, I have a helpful diagram actually to show the difference in the way that Gen Z consumes news compared to older generations. Pop Crave is their AP, Dumois is their NPR, Pop Base is their Washington Post, Pop Tings is their HuffPost, and Buzzing Pop is their Breitbart.
I never see Buzzing Pop, so I can't actually confirm
I don't
or
know.
deny
Is that like the more right-leaning version of Pop Crave?
That's crazy.
That really should exist if it doesn't already.
Another funny one is Pop Slop, or Pop Flop.
Well, there are a bunch
Pop
of
Slop.
parody accounts
Poo
of
Crave.
all of these accounts, like Poo Crave and Pop Flop, and it just is a whole growing ecosystem of all these different anonymous accounts.
There's another 20 here from Just Cause I'm Free. Says, I have seen proof that bread is full of it, and Mocha is in fact a cute, derpy kitty. Justice for Mocha.
She is cute.
No.
We had Justice for Mocha yesterday. Let it be known.
I do. Look, it's an ongoing joke. I do in fact love the derpy cat. I do. And going to the cat emergency room at midnight is something that no cat parent ever wants to do.
Looks like Pop Crave currently has 1.9 million followers on X, and Pop Base. Let me see which one is bigger.
I imagine. I feel like Pop Crave is, but I could be wrong.
Pop Base has 1.8. So
Okay.
they're about the same level, but it's mostly anonymous. Staff run a proper website that features interviews with celebrities, movie reviews, and photo galleries. But they also publish a lot of actual news items that you would find in a lot of these aforementioned mainstream media outlets. And this is kind of the left-wing version of alt media,
Yep.
if you think about it.
Yep.
And it just shows that there's such a difference in the way that Gen Z consumes
Look, if they're looking for
news.
if they're looking for their as they keep talking about the left-wing Joe Rogan, this may be the place where they have to go to find it. But the thing is there's no face behind this. It's just the information.
Right.
You don't have a personality to latch onto.
Right, but they know who their audience is, and that's how they curate the way that they word things and the timing of the posts. You can definitely tell that there's a left-wing slant, but it's just subtle enough.
It's never bothered me. Like, look, like slant's gonna, bias is gonna creep in anywhere. Like that doesn't. And when it comes to what we do, which is to take this information and then analyze what that means from our perspective, I appreciate giving it to me just the information and not the rest of the slant.
The only problem with it is that they're presenting political news to people, mainly Gen Z, who have no other way of consuming political news.
And don't desire to go look deeper into the issues. It's one thing if we're talking about album sales. Oh, for instance, a great example, and it wasn't from them, it was from Discussing Film. Today, they posted the opening projections for Captain America Brave New World and said it's looking to open to about $95 million with a budget of $180 million. I am here to tell you that the budget for that movie is not $180 million, but it is a fantastic way to push the idea that that's what it would be.
When does it open?
I believe February 14th.
Oh,
Valentine's Day.
nice.
So that's just another way. So at one point they were adding in the tax credits in their responses. The other thing was discussing film during the strike. Every time they would post any update about the strike, they would turn the comments off because they didn't want to let you. I'll give Pop Base this or Pop Crave this. I don't think I've ever seen them turn the comments off. If they have, it's been on a very small scale. It's not a ton of times. But whenever they would talk about the writer's strike or the actor's strike, they wouldn't let you have an opinion. They would shut the comments off, and they were very clearly biased towards the performers and the writers and not towards the studios.
Or if it's any post related to J.K. Rowling. comments
Yes. Oh,
off.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
So that you can't see the huge cohort of people that are defending her.
Absolutely.
But they are specifically targeting a lot of social media users who are otherwise disengaged from politics, and this is the way they engage with it. It's the one singular way that a lot of Gen Z on X specifically are engaging with politics, and I do find that worrying.
It's a bit disconcerting. You're not going to be able to have more than a surface level discussion if all they've read is, granted, to be fair, a lot of people don't read past the headline. even when
Donald
there's more-
Trump just rescinded all of these laws that said that, I don't know, gay people have rights. Like, that's the way that they're framing all of this information.
All right. I mean, the other thing about it is, though, if I'm being honest, is most of the people in these spaces have learned that the business model has to expand. I don't know if that's necessarily the case for them with 1.9 million followers. I don't think they ever needed to branch out past just entertainment.
Well, because the left, like, owned culture and entertainment media and still pretty much does.
Yeah.
The right has come around to the realization that they need to engage in culture. And I guess that left alt media realized that they needed to engage in political media.
And they met each other along the way as they crossed the basin.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Phil.
And put garbage in all of our feeds.
Phil, I would like to know, do you want to see cute or cringe of the
I
day?
always want to see cringe to make it go away.
All right.
Mary, how bad is today's?
Phil's not going to like it.
Okay.
It's asking women, what is your go-to form of microfeminism?
What's your go-to microfeminism?
I call myself and other women women, not girls.
Refusing to yield to men when they're walking down the street. When a man's got
Wait, what does that mean? Like, does she just hit him with her car or something?
No. When they're walking in opposite directions, she's not going to move out of the way for a man. She's going to make the man
She don't
move.
need no man.
aggressive. I hit him with the, I can see you're acting a little emotionally. Let's think a little more logically, like me.
I like to ask my male colleagues to take notes during our meetings.
When someone talks about going to the doctor, I ask what she said.
I don't watch a lot of sports, but when I do, I try to put on women's sports to help.
I have a question. Okay, when they say like somebody went to the doctor, I asked what she said. Is it pretty common for people to say what did he say, or would they say what did they say?
I would always say what they say.
What did they say?
Yeah.
I would probably assume that the doctor is male myself, but I don't know.
You've got internalized misogyny, though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lift women's sports in the media.
When a man says he is babysitting his children, I make sure to correct it to parenting.
Okay, that is legit though. Like if you're a dad, you're not babysitting. You're doing your responsibility, which is to take care of the child. Just because your wife or girl or whatever baby mama is away doesn't make you a babysitter. So that has nothing to do with feminism either. That has to do with being an actual parent.
Right.
The only one here that I think probably would be effective in actually riling someone up is the one about acting emotionally.
Something needs to be moved, and someone's like, let's let the men do it. I say, no, I got it.
I like to hold the door open for men and insist they go in first. What's your go-to?
But like, if you're like moving furniture, what if you don't got it? Like, what if you can't do it?
Yeah.
Because I know I can't. What do you do then?
Why would anybody assume that
Why
somebody
is it
holding the door for you is some type of feminist statement?
Well, we've all heard your infamous personal anecdote
That
of
was a
holding
long-
open a door for a feminist.
Yeah, that was
who
a long-
screamed at you
long
for
time.
assuming that she's not an able-bodied adult.
Did you punch her?
No.
Yeah, you
No, I was kind of just, I was more shocked by
She
the.
punched her and said, "Don't yell at me, bro."
I kind of just stood there like, what?
That was in, you said it was in like 2012
There's
or something.
nothing. There's nothing that makes a woman seem more insecure than these kind of behaviors, though. Like if you have to get out there and be like, I don't need no man, and need to display it to random men that you've never actually met or interacted with, if you need to do that kind of stuff to assert yourself as a woman, it just makes you seem insecure about being a woman.
Yeah. Microfeminism. Okay, Mary, then I have to ask. I asked you earlier, you've had time to think about it. What is your microfeminism?
I don't know if I have had enough time to think about it, but I definitely have microfeminisms.
Yeah.
Don't I?
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I agree with the first girl. I should say this first woman. You should refer to adult women as women, not girls.
Okay.
No. But that's not really feminist.
That's insane.
That's just the right way to refer to someone.
Boys, girls, women, men. I don't see it's just colloquial.
I'm trying to think if there's anything. I mean, I guess one of my microfeminisms might be that I insist on making eye contact with men in public so that they know I'm not scared of them.
Okay.
But that's more of a personal safety thing and signaling to people that you're aware of your surroundings.
That's the thing. So, like, my girlfriend, like, she carries a gun, and one of the things that I tell her all the time is, like, if you're concerned about the way someone's behaving, look them dead in the eye, because people that are looking to commit crimes are not looking for someone that they're going to have to work to commit the crime against. If you seem like you're aware, just like you said, you're knowing your surroundings and stuff. If you seem like you're aware, people are going to say, I'll find someone else. Criminals do not want people that are aware of their surroundings. They want easy targets.
Yeah.
The more things you do, like look people in the eye, make them know that you know that they're there, and then behave as if you might have a weapon. Put your hand in your purse, whether or not you have anything in there or not. Put your hand in your purse. Those kind of small signals will make they're not going to protect you from anything, but they might make someone say, I'm going to look for the next one, because they don't care about you personally.
Yeah.
They don't care. They want the easiest target imaginable. So the more you seem like you're not an easy target, the safer you are.
It's partly because I'm just not socially aware enough, so I just look at people without realizing that they can see me too.
Okay.
I'm like a chronic people watcher, so I've noticed myself doing that a little bit too much.
All right.
But maybe it'll save my life, or it already did.
Maybe it already did. That's what I'm saying. All right. All right. Cute of the day. This one's from Timothy. It says, this sweet girl was rescued around New Year's, and she has to go to the vet today for sneezing and allergies. Prayer for Dolly Potton.
Aww.
Dolly Potton.
She loves jumping up for rubs.
Very cute.
That is a very cute kitty. All right. Let's get started.
On his first day in office, Donald Trump signed an executive order that defined sex instead of gender. He defined men and women as biologically male and female, and this angered all the right people, including people in Hollywood like Ariana Grande.
Aww.
And in response to Donald Trump's executive order,
She skipped a meal?
She can't afford to do that. That is dangerous territory.
Yeah, it is.
Rather, she shared multiple posts on her Instagram.
Oh, please.
Thank you.
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, eat the cat.
Ariana Grande responded to Trump by sharing an Instagram post from Advocates for Trans Equality, who wrote, "Today is a tough day for our community. The incoming administration campaigned on attacking trans people's lives, healthcare, and dignity, and we're bracing ourselves for what these extremists will try to do next. No matter what comes, we will protect each other. We have fought even harder battles before and won. We'll do it again." She also shared a tirade from podcast host Matt Bernstein, which read, "Let's be very clear. Queer and trans people were here before Donald Trump and will continue to be here after he's dead. Whether or not you want us to exist is secondary to the simple fact that we do. The sun does not care if you sign an executive order telling it to stop rising each morning. It just continues to rise."
Mental.
The executive order did not state there are not people who exist that identify as the opposite sex. That is not what the executive order stated. It just defined sex.
Mental defect.
In fact, it inadvertently kind of affirmed personhood after conception, because in the way that it worded that statement, it said those who are conceived like prior to birth as male and female. So that was an interesting part that they failed to mention here. But the executive order did not say people who identify as trans no longer exist. Like, it didn't say they just disintegrated into the air. Like Trump did not take the Thanos gauntlet and snap his fingers to make trans people disappear. That's not what happened.
Give me the Donald Trump the left believes that he is.
As Marius said, yeah.
And she also shared another post featuring the footage of that female so-called bishop reaming Donald Trump and calling on him to have mercy on transgender children who are undocumented, who fear for their lives.
That person is an Episcopalian? Is that the case?
Yeah, Episcopalians
Do you know anything
have
about
female
them?
clergy.
Do you know anything about Episcopalians?
Okay, so...
'Cause I don't know much.
The Anglican Church broke off from the Catholic Church and made the English monarch their version of the Pope. Then I presume the way it all happened is Anglicans went to America and no longer were loyal to the English monarch, and therefore they have their own clergy.
And they became the Episcopalians.
Yes.
So like the King of England is Anglican?
Yes.
Okay.
Officially and not allowed to be Catholic, still to this day. But yeah, they do have female bishops, if you want to call them that, and that female bishop was responsible for...
I like the term heretic.
Yeah, she is a heretic. But yeah, she claimed that LGBT undocumented children are fearing for their lives in this upcoming administration in Trump's America. Demi Lovato also echoed these statements, despite the fact that Demi Lovato no longer goes by they, them pronouns.
When did that change?
She just said it was too much work.
That was like a couple years ago that she gave up on having they, them pronouns because it was too complicated or something, but I presume this means she still identifies as non-binary. This is her Instagram post. If you are trans or non-binary like me, please know that I see you, I feel you. A little creepy. I am with you. You are validated, you are loved, and you are not alone. No one can take away our identities, and no one can tell us who we are or aren't. We will get through this. I love you. Yeah. I am in the room with you. I am breathing down your neck as I type this.
It's only marginally.
I am staring at you. So, you're seen, heard, validated, etc. Remember when she sang to a ghost?
I remember that to overcome the ghost trauma of misogyny.
Yeah. She went to an abandoned location and sensed the presence of a female ghost who had trauma from being subjected to misogyny. So she decided to serenade the ghost with her hit song Skyscraper. Incredible moment for Demi Lovato. Very in touch with reality.
It's all just kind of a bunch of word salad. That's what it all looks
like.
But
I do see that mainstream establishment Hollywood is doubling down on acceptance of trans ideology and gender ideology. As the Oscars are coming up, they decided to nominate a trans actor for Best Actress. This is the first time that a trans-identified actor has been nominated for an Oscar ever in the history of the award ceremony.
You know, can we talk about trans people acting some more?
I mean, they're the best at it. It's a lifelong calling of theirs.
The jokes just write themselves.
This actor's name is Carla Sofia Gasson, the transgender star of Netflix's musical Emilia Perez. This actor was nominated for Best Lead Actress and the first openly trans actor to ever receive an Oscar nomination.
I believe Emilia Perez got 13 nominations. It's the most nominated non-English ever, like non-English movie or production ever.
I feel like the fact that it's in Spanish is Oscar bait in and of itself.
Could be.
Am I wrong?
Could be.
And they also had Selena Gomez in Emilia Perez speaking Spanish, which is not a language that she grew up speaking. She learned it for the role.
That's even funnier.
And people have been making fun of her left and right for how bad she is at doing the accent and everything.
Give her a break. She tried.
She is Latina, but she did not grow up speaking Spanish. And that's a whole other can of worms. But
I guess something like this, if I was to be cynical, would say that they knew it was going to get them a lot of press. I mean, it was a very popular thing this year. Amelia Perez was very, very popular. It was all over the trades and the news and the ratings. So that doesn't shock me at all. But this nomination was always going to be a very big buzz for them at a time when award shows just aren't what they used to be.
Well, this is their way of making right the wrongs of Amelia Perez, because GLAAD actually spoke out against the portrayal of this trans character at the time that it came out. GLAAD criticized this movie for its portrayal of transgenderism, saying that the movie features a profoundly retrograde portrayal of a trans woman and represents a step backward for trans representation. Because there's never enough work done.
Well, there's no money to be made in the work being finished. There's a 20 there from Just 'Cause I'm Free.
Let me find that.
Says there can be no female bishops or in any position of leadership. It is in Timothy 2:11-12. So those are not real. Demi Fato will resist how exactly?
And, to be fair to Demi Lovato, she did lose the extra weight. She's looking hot again. She no longer has this whole queer get up, but she still identifies as non-binary, just without the pronouns and without any of the meaning that it had in the first place, which is already dubious at best.
I mean, this is a lot of things that people talk about in Hollywood is the idea of luxury beliefs. And these are the quintessential luxury beliefs that those of wealth and privilege do have the ability to think about stuff like this, when the average everyday American just isn't going to put a whole lot of thought into these types of things outside of, a very basic discussion with people.
I guess that GLAAD's controversy over Amelia Perez was, they argue the screenplay is overly cisgender and inauthentic in its representation of the transitioning process.
Okay.
Faced backlash from many transgender critics and advocates for a harmful and inaccurate depiction of transgender experiences. They put out a whole press release about it, in fact.
Yeah. But still, that's a lot of nominations for something that did get pushback within the Access Media community.
I wonder if Will and Harper is going to get a nomination for, best documentary or something.
Well, actually, Sebastian Stan was nominated for his portrayal of Donald Trump in The Apprentice.
Right. Well, he was waiting for the validation to start rolling in, and then a bunch of his colleagues in this industry didn't want to associate with him anymore because he became...
Look, I don't know if I buy that anyways.
Well,
bro just didn't get a couple of phone calls for a couple of months, and suddenly he's public enemy #1?
According to his claim, he wasn't allowed to do variety actors on actors because no other actors wanted to associate with him.
Not allowed, but just nobody else wanted to touch that with it. And those people were right, given the way that the election went. And
they didn't want to spend an hour trashing Trump on camera because it's not fashionable to do so anymore, which is something we're going to talk about a little more later.
Yep.
Let's read some super chats, though.
Let's do it.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Thrashing Thursday, Brett, Mary, and Phil. I keep getting YouTube ads for licorice. What kind of depraved deviant do they think I am? No, just no."
It's a very good question.
Are you a fan of licorice?
Not really. So what is it, like Wallabies has like the lemonade flavored licorice? That's actually kind of good. It's like Australian licorice. But other than that, not really.
Terrible candy choice.
Yeah.
Not quite as bad as, what was the one that we were trashing? The one that's on the little paper things that have like dots.
Oh, I'd never heard of them until you showed them to me. I was like, what the hell are those
Worst thing
things?
to get on Halloween.
Look like acid tabs.
Absolute. They're literally acid tabs for children.
Let's go.
And then what is it? Fun Dip. It's just cocaine for children.
Yeah, it's or like that's the worst.
It's terrible.
It's literally like the stick is literally pure sugar that you're dipping in sugar.
But it's different. It's different sugar.
Yeah.
T-Dog said miniseries idea for HBO, The Biden Crime Family.
Oh,
a dramatized fictional version.
They could do that.
I would watch a miniseries about Hunter Biden.
I mean, they could make like a comedy about him, and it'd be hilarious. Just like a really, really dark comedy about Hunter Biden.
Yeah, well, it's not so dark now. He got his happy ending.
Get Todd Phillips to direct like the Hangover version of like Hunter Biden's life.
Greg Duvier said, Brett, can we get a Mocha health update?
Yeah. Mocha seems to be doing well. So we got her home from the vet and she got fluids and she got meds. She's keeping food down. She seems all right. I got home yesterday. She was out like a light, as she always is at that time of day. You can't ask for more than that. Then they just return to routine. We're keeping a close eye on her, though.
Very happy that we got
Yes.
justice for Mocha. So, see, it happened.
Yeah, justice for Mocha.
Greg Duvier said, Bookstore Thor said, 1.5 inches taller and maybe I could get a girlfriend.
Well, you know, if you're like me and you just randomly grow when you're in your 30s.
Do you think you grew?
No.
Or they were just measuring you wrong?
I mean, maybe I was like measured when I was a lot younger and then just never went back and got measured again or
you
something.
Didn't want to face
I
it.
just kind of sat with the same height forever and have never been and just was never actually measured.
I don't know. 1.5 inches taller is not the difference between you being single or not. It's all a mindset thing.
Let's do one more.
The Manic Mustache said there's only 2 reasons to cry after making love. Either you got a phone call that one of your parents died, or the girl you're with told you your brother had a bigger one. Stay toxic, my friends.
Even then you shouldn't cry.
This is oddly specific. Speaking
that
from
happen to you?
personal experience.
All right, let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back.
With the OnlyFans stunts of Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips, one of the main topics of conversation is who here is more to blame, the OnlyFans thoughts or the thousands, if not millions, of simps that enable their existence and, in fact, in these situations, participated in their real life stunts, lining up for blocks to hook up with them. And I think it's finally time to have a conversation about those men as they have decided to give interviews to the media and reveal their true identities.
Shame them.
They do deserve to be shamed. While I don't say, Lily Phillips
No one has
or
ever
Bonnie
been that
Blue,
thirsty. Shame them.
Lily Phillips and Bonnie Blue are not victims. I'm just going to say that so that nobody accuses me of saying that they're victims.
Okay.
I never, ever claimed that they were victims. I did see the video of Lily Phillips being just emotionally wrecked from what she did to herself, but that doesn't negate that it's something she willingly walked into and chose for herself. And the men in that situation definitely are not blameless. They do deserve to be publicly shamed for their behavior. In fact, one of them, a teenager no less, did get publicly shamed by his own mother for participating in Bonnie Blue's disgusting chemistry experiment.
Is Mother of the Year award a real thing? Because if so, I mean, she might be in contention for, trying to save him at the last minute.
So let's take a look at this video of him getting dragged out.
Go in, put your clothes on and come. Otherwise I'll get the police to come for you. Put on your clothes now and come out. Come out of here now. Put on your coat and shoes and come. Well, let's call the police,
He's coming. He's lost his coat.
Where's your coat? Where's the coat? Find your coat.
Don't shout.
When you're in a room full of 1,000 men trying to have sex with one woman, coats just go missing.
It's unacceptable to me. If you get me more annoyed.
He's coming now.
Yeah, I wonder, do they have a coat check?
No, don't you call police already. Where is he?
He's just getting changed. He's coming out.
That's kind of on him.
I wouldn't have come.
We'll
Joseph, where's your coat?
It's downstairs.
Okay.
So this teenager's mother dragged him out of line as he was waiting to be one of the 1,000 men who slept with Bonnie Blue. According
Look, if your mom
to...
can make you leave, you're not a man. Just saying.
Yeah, and then you shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
According to TikTok creator
you shouldn't be there
Brandon
anyways.
Beavis, who arrived to report on the event, an angry mother found out what her son was about to do. Some of the others in line tried calming her down, but she refused to leave until her son left with her.
Good for mom.
As a mother should. But you probably messed up somewhere along the line if this is what he ended up doing later in life.
Yes.
Wasn't your
I was saying,
finest
I'm
moment.
not saying that she's like the greatest mom ever, but I'm just saying that, it could have been worse.
But I want to follow up on this because I saw that Daily Mail released this huge report on all of the men who queued up to hook up with Bonnie Blue, and some of them even agreed to give interviews to the media. I can't imagine why, but they decided to expose themselves. Queuing up on the grand staircase of a historic mansion in London, these are the desperate men brazen enough to admit they were one of the 1,057 people who had sex with Bonnie Blue in the span of 12 hours. Unmasking themselves for millions to see on social media, these men wasted no time in bragging about what number they were in the line and how much they enjoyed themselves.
I guess the point is that, look, you can shame them all you want. It'll never be as interesting as having the one specific person to focus on. So there's less consequences for them in doing this.
Bonnie Blue shared a photo of her posing naked with the 1,000th man. But most, if not all, of his face was covered with a balaclava in the photo. The sex marathon did not end there. She was not going to stop at 1,000. She was like, well,
no,
F it. We've been doing it for this long. Let's just keep going.
Yes.
It's funny that you use the term F it.
So TikTok creator Bevo interviewed some of the men who took part in the event. He asked one, I know you were about 600 and something. That's what I've been told. How did you find it? How has it been? The man, like many of the other men present, replied, yeah, it was brilliant to F her. He then bragged about doing it hard. Interviewing a second man, the TikToker asked, how long did you get? The man replied, bro, I don't know. I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't even looking at the time. Another one added that he had a good time as well. And then he asked if he was going for seconds, to which he replied, yeah.
I don't know if that's allowed.
That is not allowed.
There's a 20 there from Just Because I'm Free. So let's
it
ban
say?
these men. It's a calf.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you see it?
Like it. Let's ban these men like a calf. Shame, shame.
Yep.
I don't know what that means
Neither do I.
exactly. But yeah, another was told by doing the interview he could skip ahead in the line and get to hook up with Bonnie Blue quicker.
So they had like perks.
What is there to brag about, though?
Yeah.
Like, this is literally the easiest sex you're ever going to get in your life.
Yeah.
Usually men brag about hookups because it's like
Conquest.
seen as an
It is-
accomplishment,
yes.
like you actually had to convince a woman to sleep with you.
It's like the reverse of when women brag about it, and you understand that that doesn't make any sense because women being the gatekeepers of sex.
This is like about
anyways.
as impressive as going on your phone and looking up Pornhub and masturbating to a video on Pornhub. Like, that's the same level of impressive, meaning it's completely pathetic, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing to brag about here. Other men claim to have taken part in the world record attempt also shared videos about their experience. One man who showed his full face in the video said, "Hi guys, just leaving Bonnie Blue's shoot. I was one of the guys who were selected for the 1,000 men, so obviously I've done my part. It was just 2 minutes. It was quick but good. We exchanged contact, me and her, so we're gonna do another shoot. 1,000 men, and I was number 7, by the way. I'm leaving now. It was great."
You got in there early. Got in the ground floor.
Mail Online revealed the full disturbing insight into the stunt, which took place at a $15 million mansion, which is owned by convicted fraudster Fast Eddie Davenport, and it's yards away from BBC's broadcasting house. Footage from the aftermath showed Bonnie Blue rolling around on the floor, which was littered with condoms, paper towels, and discarded balaclavas.
So they got done. They took their masks off. They're like, I got to get out of here. I got to get some air.
And then the security guard actually came out and spoke about the experience. The security guard who filmed from inside the sex party and posted it online told how he hoped to bed Bonnie during the session, but was put off by the scenes that greeted him. He's 42 years old, by the way. He said, "It was the most surreal experience of my life, 100%. I was just amazed about what was going on. I had been told it was one-to-one sessions, so I presumed you got into a room with her one at a time. But when I got there, it was a free-for-all." That's mathematically impossible that it could be one at a time. There were around 30 or 40 guys around her at any one time, all taking turns. She was surrounded.
One security guard feels very lax considering something could go very wrong very fast, and one security guard isn't going to do shit.
Especially because the security guard is hoping that he can just become one of the participants.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like a conflict of interest at all.
No.
There were so many guys there, and I'm quite shy. I've never been involved in anything like that, so I didn't get involved. He said she did have sex with at least 1,000 men as far as I'm aware. I didn't actually count them, but the mansion was full. There were a lot of guys in their late teens and early 20s. There were a few older guys. I'm 42, and I was probably one of the oldest there. People were just going in, and a group would surround her. Whoever got the opportunity would start joining in. She was in the middle, and there were loads of guys around her doing whatever to her. I didn't know any of the people there. They all had masks on. When you arrive, they give you a mask so you hide your face. 99% of the people there had masks on. And it was sort of like what bank robbers wear.
Yep.
I wasn't there for the whole day. I went for about 2 hours, and I went for lunch for maybe 45 minutes, then came back for another 2 hours, and she was still going at it. It was pretty full on. She had a camera set up. I think she said she had 5 cameras altogether. It was in a hall. They were using just one big room. The queue started from the bottom of the stairs, up a staircase, and then into the room. She got 12 hours of footage, starting at 1 p.m. and going well into the night.
Sucks to be that editor. He's got a long road ahead of him.
By about 2 p.m., she was well into the flow of things, and she did not stop. I don't know how she did it. I left for about 6 or 7, and she was still going and carried on.
So the security guard didn't even stay the whole time? He's like, look,
No.
I wasn't contracted for the whole day. I got to go. I bet you it sounded like, you know, that's like when you go out in the rain and your boots squish from the rain. I bet you that's what it sounded like in there.
Ew. Another man, a plumber and adult film star named Andy Lee, also showed
He's an
his
actual
face.
plumber. That's amazing.
Although he was not part of the 1,000 men, he was previously worked on shoots with her. Speaking to the Mirror, he said, off camera, she's really quiet and sweet, but as soon as the camera turns on, the sex demon comes out. Okay, so this woman is possessed.
Mm-hmm.
She's competitive and wants to do more and better. She's great to deal with, is up for anything, and always great fun. She's actually very intelligent. She knows exactly what she's doing to get people talking. She also recently spoke out about Lily Phillips doing the same stunt and said that it was originally her idea.
So they were friends, that she stole the idea from her. That's why you got to stay quiet, guys.
Yeah.
If you got a brilliant idea, keep it to yourself. You don't want your friend to steal it from you.
And she did beat Lily Phillips to breaking the record, so she won out in the end. But I just can't believe that men who participated in this were willing to unveil their identities so shamelessly. And actually, not just shamelessly, but they really think this is something that they should brag about. Like, it's an accomplishment.
Her name is the only one people are going to remember, so it's not going to do anything to them. I just don't think it will. Like, I mean, I guess maybe some of them, like, if you go look up their name now, like, their employers, like, are going to be like, oh, were you that guy who got involved in the Bonnie Blue gangbang, I guess?
Well, it's obviously, you know, it's not illegal, even though it should be. But it's something that you should be socially exiled for doing. That's for sure. Lily Phillips, in response to getting one-upped, announced that she instead is going to do a backdoor challenge. She announced that she will be having anal sex with as many guys as possible. And I don't know if it's going to be 100 or 1,000 or 2,000, but this is, I said it before, that this is like an actual medical event. Like, this is a medical emergency that we're talking about. This definitely is.
Her proctologist
This
is
could
about
destroy
to
her life. Not kidding.
But there is hope, because we do have this story from Turkey.
Well, Lily Phillips said that she recently traveled to the United States for
she got stopped at the border.
Yeah, Lily Phillips traveled to the United States for a convention of adult stars and was stopped by Customs and Border Patrol because they suspected, based on her identification, that she was arriving in the U.S. to form a prostitution ring. And she had to clarify and tell Customs that, no, she's not charging anyone. She's just letting them do this for free. So it's technically not a crime. It's just a crime against her own dignity and against anyone who has to witness this. But, you know, if we lived in a sane country, perhaps like Turkey, this is what would be happening to these men and to Lily Phillips and Bonnie Blue. They would be getting dragged into a police van, as you can see happening here. An OnlyFans creator in Turkey was planning to copycat Lily Phillips by hooking up with 100 men in a day, and police found out about this and threw him in jail, as they should.
Mary's like, there's hope yet.
There is hope. If there are still governments that are willing to enforce morality, which is what all laws are, there is still hope for humanity. This is what should be happening in the US, in the UK, and all over the globe.
Yeah.
If I had it my way, in Mary's ideal dictatorship, this is what would be happening.
Okay.
Do you agree, Phil?
Yes.
You agree?
Yes.
Because I just saw you post the other day, after seeing Lily Phillips do her cum walk.
Yes.
That you finally agree that OnlyFans should be
I
outlawed.
said, fine, get rid of it. I mean,
was that a tongue-in-cheek response, or are you serious?
It was tongue-in-cheek, but at the same time, it's as tongue-in-cheek as when I say, like, abolish the 19th Amendment. There is a kernel of truth at the very, bottom there.
So you're not...
Remember, abolishing the 19th Amendment is only the start.
You're not
it needs
pro-outlawing.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, probably not. But it is.
Oh, good, because I was waiting for your approval. we were all waiting for Phil Labonte to agree that OnlyFans should be outlawed before we make any rash decisions.
I'm sure that you weren't. But anyways, the point being, like, it is, like, it's just the things that I don't understand. And I know there are some really, really, really crazy people that like some really, really, really degenerate stuff, but I can't wrap my head around what's sexy about 1,000 dudes. I can't wrap my head around...
Especially to the dudes. What do they
to
find
other guys, yeah. I can't wrap my head around what's sexy about, as many anal with as many people as possible. As, like, what is sexy about that?
Just an AIDS super spreader event.
I mean, I don't see what's attractive about it. I can't. And look, like, I mean, I'm no prude, right? Like, I mean, I've been in a band for a long time, and there's plenty of stuff that I don't want to discuss that I have, seen and blah blah blah. But even still,
yeah,
like that is just. I don't see how there's anything sexy about it.
Like, are these guys participating in this event because they can't get laid in their real lives? Because that just makes it all the more pathetic.
I don't know. Why would anyone pay for that content?
And especially in this day and age, it's literally never been easier to get a woman to hop into bed with you.
What's sexy about walking around with a load on your face? So just I'm going to walk outside because I've got... Like,
my point is, like, women have literally never been as promiscuous and shamelessly promiscuous as they are right now, especially in areas like London or Miami and these epicenters of degeneracy. It's so easy. You literally just buy a woman a drink.
This goes back to the they're only that promiscuous with a select portion of the population. Women are all after the same guys. So yes, promiscuous women, there are probably more guys that they will, but that they will with, but that doesn't, they're just more likely to give it up to the guys that they would select, not that they're more likely to give it up to all guys. Dudes that are like low tier, that are, they would if the guy is a guy that they would never touch, just because they're easy doesn't mean that guys they would never touch get a better opportunity. It just means that more of the dudes that they would touch get to have sex with them because they're not discerning in any way. It used to be where women would be like, I would love that guy, but I can't because someone would, blah blah blah.
Because I would get pregnant,
or there's social consequences or whatever. Now they don't have any of those social consequences. They don't have any of that stuff. So it's like, of course the hot guys are getting in their pants. So it just means that the hot guy, it's not that every guy is getting more tail. It's that the guys that are the top tier guys are getting infinitely more tail, which is why the top tier guys continue to look at chicks that are, that 20, 30, 40 years ago, they would have been like, man, let me land this one right now because she's hot and she has all the stuff that I'm looking for. There's another one right behind her that has all the stuff that he's looking for, because the really attractive women are just like, I'll throw it around because the hot guys want to bang me. It's not that more guys are getting laid. It's that the hot guys, the top tier guys, are getting laid more.
Well, needless to say, the men who participated in Bonnie Blue's stunt or Lily Phillips' stunt, they are on the lowest totem pole of everyone alive today and possibly everyone who has ever lived on this earth.
Okay. All right.
No Control said he was just driving around with no pants on. I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
That's a pretty good reference, yeah.
Yeah, it's just him exercising his God-given rights.
It's like freedom.
Corey Anderson said, I can't say that. These ladies guilted him into deletion. Some dudes just like to get some air around the meat. Sorenko Productions said, wait, the Bikini Bean Baiter was named Noda what?
Was it Nautica?
Nautica. Yeah.
Nautica, the clothing brand, sweating right now. They're like, no.
Shane H. Wilder said the coffee shop in Landman is real. It made the news because some of the women got SA'd. Now they have signs saying the women are packing heat. Well,
it's very Texas.
If you openly advertise, hey, go to this location where sexually attractive women are going to pretend to like you, I feel like a natural consequence of that is that you're attracting perverts.
Does that mean that the Bikini coffee shop has bouncers like a strip club would?
Seems a little bit too much cost for what it's worth.
Might need a bouncer.
APK779 said, yo, this Bikini Beans is right next to my house.
Wow.
Yikes. I hope you weren't encountering that guy. John Barrett said, my boy Blue almost died. Mocha number 2, my boy Blue.
Well,
and then Subphil.
Mocha is doing okay.
Shane H. Wilder said, if you're out in public, you must be wearing pants. Phil Labonte, 2025. Yes. I approve this message.
You must be wearing pants to go into public. Shorts are still considered pants. That's fine. But it also depends on how short, gentlemen.
It's another one from Shane.
Shane H. Wilder said, go home, pop, crave, /bass, you're drunk.
Yeah. Do 2 more.
Grant Arnett said, Phil, please roast my band Pleasant Wounds' new single, Obey.
No.
He will not do it.
I will not do that.
Would you, do a stream where people can, donate to get you to review their music?
People
would love that.
No.
You would just be too mean.
No, well, more than likely, I would be mean all the time if I was honest. But I also I don't want to do that. I don't want to criticize people, because people that are looking to get their start, that don't know how to write music, that are just I don't want to tell you, I don't want to tell them that it's bad or that I don't like it and them to get discouraged, because the only way you get better is by continuing to make music. And just because my opinion, just because I say that I don't like it, that's only an opinion. So I don't want to tell people, I don't ever want to hurt someone's attempt at making music or creating something. The first person that you have to satisfy is you. But you have to be honest with yourself. If the stuff that you're making actually isn't good, don't lie to yourself. Like, figure out the things that are not good about it. Figure out the things that you don't like. Find the things that aren't up to snuff according to you, and get better at them. Don't lie to yourself about your music. But if you're writing stuff that you really like, then who am I to tell you that it's bad? Like, that would be, in my opinion, that would be such a terrible thing. So I won't do that.
Do one more.
Weary Traveler said, an apple for Phil, the Apple King.
I do like Apple products.
But not apples, the fruit.
I mean,
they're okay.
If I'm honest, apples are like my least favorite fruit. So yeah.
Okay, we're going to get into our last topic.
Let's do it.
Everyone is talking about a cultural vibe shift that was started by Trump's recent victory, all the way leading up to his inauguration. And even well before that, I was hearing about a vibe shift going throughout 2024. And although for the past 8 years, Hollywood has been this one sacred place that will not associate with Donald Trump, rumor has it that they might have to relent. They have no other choice because their business is struggling so much. They need to become more friendly to Trump so that he can give them opportunities.
Yep. David Zaslav was probably the first person to really, it felt like to me, was the first person who kind of got on board, and early on, like well before, early on in the election cycle, me and you were like, I thought Kamala was, I thought she was going to win. I did. And David
I at least thought it was a coin toss.
And David Zaslav said, look, he'd be great for business. He's business friendly. He would be great for us. And that was considered controversial at the time.
Yes.
I have seen a lot of people, a lot of channels point out that David Zaslav is kind of the orange man bad of Hollywood executives. They really dislike him. Like, they really dislike him.
We have a 20 from Jose Quintana. From sad and pathetic to truly demonic and horrific, I hope neither of these women go to their next level. They could. These males participating, each and every one a predator, each and every one. Well, I mean, I don't think that what they did to her is predatory, but they're probably more likely than the rest of the population to be predatory in other situations. But Variety published this piece titled, "Hollywood is now ready to work with Trump. You didn't hear Biden talking about how to help us." And that's true. Throughout Biden's presidency, there were the strikes and COVID regulations.
They weren't even getting any help from Newsom until very, very recently, because once the strikes happened and everything, they just started pumping out work overseas. They moved everything to Canada, or they moved it to India, and they weren't producing here in America. And Gavin Newsom finally had to add a whole bunch of tax credits back on, and I don't even think those have gone into effect yet. So they're not really getting help from anyone, and the average everyday person doesn't have any love lost for them. It's not like anybody here is going to cry because Hollywood isn't getting the tax breaks they need, or because the government doesn't want to help them.
And for the same reason, tech CEOs like Mark Zuckerberg are cozying up to Trump because it's good for big tech's business opportunities.
Yep.
In this article, they start off by talking about the TikTok party. I went to the TikTok party. I don't know if it was really my kind of party, but I'm glad that I got to go.
What is your type of party? I'm just curious.
One where you can hear yourself talk and you can hear the other person talk.
Okay. Couldn't do that there?
Could not do that at the TikTok party. It was sort of like this.
Okay.
You know?
You're like, oh, how's it
like
going?
1,000 times louder.
So what do you think of the election?
Thank you.
Okay.
They say the night before Donald Trump returned to the White House, one of the splashiest inauguration week bashes was kicking off at DC hotspot Saks Restaurant and Lounge. Waka Flocka Flame performed, while conservative VIPs Ben Shapiro, Terrence K. Williams, and Matt Walsh were honored with a crowd of 600 partied until the wee hours.
Was that it, Mary? Did you party until the wee hours? Were the hours wee?
I think I left before what you would consider the wee hours.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, you could say I was partying. While the guest list was apropos for a Trump 2.0 celebration, some might be shocked by who sponsored and shelled out $75,000 for the event. None other than TikTok, which signed to host in November. And it was purely coincidental that the countdown to TikTok's shutdown fell on the same exact day that this party was taking place. CJ Pearson, who we've had on the show before, was the one who organized the event. And he said it kind of was happenstance that the party ended up being the same day they were scheduled to go dark. Obviously, Trump saved the platform. It could have been a funeral, but instead it was a very jubilant celebration. So people were not just celebrating Trump's win, they were celebrating TikTok's win because Trump, wanted to be the savior of the platform.
As they perceive also, it's the cultural shift that's going on.
Right. Tech oligarchs like Jeff Bezos, Zuckerberg, and Tim Cook were atop the guest list for another 4 years of Trump, having proven their fealty at the inauguration. Many in show business are wondering just how close Hollywood will cozy up to Trump in this new era. Talent who pledged early support have been put through social media ringer. Carrie Underwood was photoshopped into a KKK robe by an ex-user after confirming she would perform at the inauguration. And then Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, and Jon Voight were mocked and eye-rolled by show business insiders when Trump announced this month they would be his envoys to Hollywood. I don't know. I still don't know actually what that role means for them.
Say what you want, but Stallone and Gibson are still working plenty and involved plenty. So,
but this is not ideological. This is all about money. For some, a return to 2020 before COVID, before strikes and devastating wildfires crippled Hollywood's limping economy would be welcome, even if it meant enduring Trump's drive-by attacks on the industry. Members of the industry's most left-wing contingent, the unions, are privately expressing hope that the president's planned tariffs on imports may cover runaway production, thus creating a greater incentive to film in hubs like Los Angeles and Atlanta.
Oh, so they like the tariffs when they help them.
So they're willing to tolerate Trump and all of his Trumpness if it means that he's going to regulate in their favor and bring filming back into the U.S.
It's actually how you should look at it. Like, you should not look at it as a politician as somebody to admire or despise. You should look at it as somebody who can hopefully do something for you, the citizenry.
Yes, but that's another reason we should be cautioned against thinking people like Mark Zuckerberg or anyone in show business suddenly woke up one day and had a change of heart about Trump and now they love him and they got red-pilled. That is not what happened.
No.
They just have a self-serving incentive to cozy up to him and his administration based on policies, and they're going to lobby for their interests. One prolific film producer says he doesn't care for Trump's politics, but he admits it's refreshing to hear the office of the president focus on how we can get the movie business back on track and back in Los Angeles. He complained, "We had to shoot the whole thing," his recent film, "in Bulgaria because it cost half as much. I had to sleep in a stinky hotel and not the house I worked my entire life to buy."
I mean, I always
and you didn't hear
assume-
Biden talking about how to help us.
I always assume that any movie that's being filmed in places like that is actually funded by the Russian mob. Like, I just imagine there's some type of Russian mob that is then funneling money through the SVR. I don't imagine any of that is actually like legal. Not legal, but not illegal, but
You suspect foul play.
I suspect hinkiness.
Well, a film producer's got to do what he's got to do,
Yeah.
okay? They also mentioned that, obviously, Jeff Bezos donated to Trump's inaugural fund, and Bob Iger paid Trump a visit at Mar-a-Lago,
they
probably
want
to
something from
advocate for his interests,
Bob
given
Iger-
that a huge part of their business model resides in Florida.
Yeah, well, and also Bob Iger's entire business model for Disney has been acquisition, acquisition, acquisition. It's not about building Disney up from the ground. It's about buying other properties and buying other companies and then making them Disney brands. And to do that, you have to have regulatory committees that are on your side and are going to let those sales go through.
They also speculate here that Jeff Bezos himself had to sign off and approve Amazon's budget for the documentary they're producing about Melania Trump, which is going to be directed by Brett Ratner after his cancellation.
He's like, look, you can have as much money as you want, but my girlfriend gets to dress like a whore while at your inauguration.
When is the Lauren Sanchez doc going to
That's
come
what I
out?
wanna see.
I want to know her life story and how she ended up in this situation.
Yep.
Another chief executive at a media conglomerate, who also remained unnamed, says that Hollywood has lost its nerve. Like, they've been pushed to the breaking point, so they can't pretend to be too virtuous anymore to associate with Trump.
It's easy to have nerve when you have cash reserves and the ability to take a stand.
They got humble
and then limp back to your corner. But when you don't have the cash reserves, when you don't have the ability to stand on business, as they say, it's a lot harder. Sorry.
We have another 20 from Dreamcast Night. So, SoundCloud strippers having a beef? Well, that's not a thing I would have thought to have seen in my life.
SoundCloud strippers.
Apropos of SoundCloud beef, what will lead to shots, the Drake beef or the hoe off in England? Hopefully neither.
We would hope neither.
Yeah. But Jeff Bezos, who celebrated Joe Biden's victory over Trump in 2020, saying unity, empathy, and decency are not characteristics of a bygone era.
See, notice how we're not
is the one who's
using-
now getting friendly, and he's now an unlikely bedfellow with Trump because he has to be.
And the thing is when they get involved with Trump, they have to talk policy because they can't talk about the social implications, because the social implications don't benefit them in the way that they're framed by the media. So it's all about the business side of it. But it should be that way no matter who's in charge. Just because one party's in charge doesn't mean that you should be advocating for, what was it, decency? What did he say?
Decency, unity, and empathy.
That ain't got shit to do with public policy. Not really.
It ain't got shit to do with the bottom line at Amazon.
So, they could have done that with Biden as well. He just would have had to have been focused on the business side of things, but he wasn't. So if that means that they have to cozy up to the dictator, then I guess they do.
I think Hollywood executives got real pissed that they had been pledging their loyalty to Democrats for their entire existence and then got nothing out of it. They had nothing to show for it at the end of the day.
The point that I've always made from the beginning, I said, look, the creatives may be as loony as you may ever see, and they may be as far left as you'd ever see. People with money are at least going to be somewhere closer to the middle and have a more pragmatic approach to how things are made. And the reason why Hollywood had a golden age was because the people with the purse strings were able to rein in the people with the creatives who were able to create great art while also being kind of gently reminded that you have to speak to a general audience. And that was the people with the purse strings that did that, right? They're the ones who say, look, we can't just make a movie for the 5 people that understand this topic. We have to make a movie that applies to everybody, that can at least appeal to everybody. And that's what they need to do. And that's what they need to get back to.
This vibe shift is taking place with people that you haven't heard of for the most part. The vibe shift is taking place with people behind the cameras rather than in front of them, and they made sure to recognize it's unlikely that the number of actors who publicly support the incoming president will expand beyond the small cadre that includes Zachary Levi, Rob Schneider, Roseanne Barr, among others. There aren't going to be many famous celebrity actors or actresses coming out to support Trump. That's because this is on the business side, and those are the talent. They don't have to think about the money side of things, which is why they make all of these statements about, we made this movie for a good cause, so you should go see it because it's for a good cause, or it represents this group of people, that this minority group I belong to, or it's shifting people's norms and traditions, and we're subverting your expectations.
It will always infuriate me the way that they talk about these things, because they never approach it from the point. It's like, look, you can make all of the art you want that speaks to a small group, and people will be okay with that. Did you fund it yourself? Did you make it on your own? You cannot be mad at an executive or an audience who says, you didn't pay for this. You didn't fund it. You cannot speak to such a small group of people. That doesn't make any sense. And they go back and forth, and that's kind of the dance that creatives and executives do time and time again. And there is certainly a middle ground to be had. Look, I think that when the studios get overly involved, bad things happen as well. DC Studios is 110% proof that things go wrong when executives exert too much control. So it's about finding a healthy middle ground, and you can make magic out of that. It's just that it's more annoying when I hear the actors complain than when I hear the executives complain.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That's
we
just
have
the way I
not
see
heard
it.
the end of it yet.
No.
Let's finish up these super chats. Just because I'm free said, what do you call a feminist in war? A housewife.
But
Well, unless all of the men get drafted, then she's going to have to go out to work. Value in You said, if you want to anger a conservative, lie to them. If you want to anger a liberal, tell them the truth. Usually true.
There's legitimacy to that.
Pop Culture Junkie said, The Hollywood Reporter says Captain America's budget is $180 million. That's bullshit. The reshoots alone were close to $120 million. This is ass coverage for when the film bombs.
Yep, that's what I was saying. That's what I'm saying. That's the problem with tweets that say, and then all the tweets are like, look at those BS rumors about how the budget was $350 million. Like, so because one tweet says a different number that fits closer to how you wish it was, you take that as fact.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make any sense.
John Barrett said, don't get to drop past often. Congratulations, Brett.
Thank you. I'm assuming you're referring to me getting engaged, in which thank you. I appreciate that. We appreciate
Well,
that.
congrats on
Mocha being okay, yes.
No, on being 5'6".
Oh, then yes, thank you. I mean, that feels great.
Yeah. Greg Duvier said, off topic, but Trump signs an executive order to declassify the JFK, RFK, and MLK Jr. files. I figured Phil would like to know.
Yes, he did. I'm excited about this. Thank you.
Is it going to be an abridged version, or are they letting everything
I
out?
don't know. I haven't had the chance to really dig into it, but hopefully it's more than an abridged version.
Shane H. Wilder said, me standing up in the crowd, women can't be bishops. They definitely can't. Kyle Dixon said, please cover the Destiny story with
Phil on.
Oh, with Phil on, pretty please. I don't really want to talk about Destiny's sex life, to be honest.
I definitely don't.
Seems like a pretty ugly situation, though.
It's horrible.
It is. Yeah.
He's an absolute garbage can.
If this is true, yes.
like
well, I
that.
mean,
He's
based
admitted-
on everything he's done publicly before this, he's already a garbage can.
He's admitted. He's
worse
admitted
than a garbage can. If
there
this is
are
true.
chats that have leaked that he said that it happened, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He's a garbage can. Yeah. So I mean,
kind of like that line in the masterpiece Disney film Brink, where he says, at the end of the day when I wake up, I'm not you, so it's still a good day.
Pat the Plumber said Tim and Shane trashed Lana Del Rey last night. Thoughts?
Tim and who?
Shane?
I mean,
excuse me? What did they say?
I don't know, but I stan Lana Del Rey.
What, did you not defend her?
I did, and I don't know why they were saying. I don't know why this
What was
person's
the
saying they were
reason?
trashing. I don't remember exactly what they said. It was not that big of a deal. Like they were just like they're
did she
generally
do?
critical of pop stars, and
Okay.
so that was kind of the vibe. So Shane thinks everybody's a demon.
Is it because she put a hex on Trump?
I mean, that was
Lana Del
ages
Rey.
ago.
Yeah, that was a long, long time ago.
That was like
okay.
10 years ago.
I don't think she did that.
She did.
She did.
But you know, I don't
think
still,
you can do that. I don't think
I
it's
still
possible.
stan her. I still stan Lana. She's just a little bit of an airhead sometimes. Just because I'm free said Bonnie Blue and Destiny should meet. Both are disgusting. From here forward, men that engage with OnlyFans girls will be called scabies. I like that. Nick C said, friendly suggestion. Can we please stop getting daily updates on who got gangbanked or did a cum walk the day before? It's really gross.
Look, I don't disagree with you.
It's far from daily.
It's not daily, but I do actually, like, I resign myself when we cover these topics because I do think it is important to discuss. I let Mary take the reins, and then I'm like, that's gross. That's gross. Wow, that's gross. Okay. All right. On to the next one.
We will be covering it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's because it's culturally relevant and nothing like OnlyFans has existed before. It's an insane moment in time to be alive for a lot of reasons, and that's one of them. Weary Traveler said, backdoor challenge, yeah, hellfire needs to rain down immediately.
I'm telling you, no. It's what it is the proctologists are going to be raking it in. They are.
Yeah. Corey Anderson said, okay, I'm not going to read that. Just because I'm free, said, the guys that do this have no self-confidence. One of my good friends is considered bottom tier, but once he got confidence in himself, the woman the women started giving him attention.
The woman.
The woman? I don't know. The women? Yeah, I mean, that's a huge piece of the puzzle. Omega Red fan sent us a sticker.
It was a mic drop. Looks like a bird doing a mic drop.
I wonder what we said. Jose Quintana, already read that one. Shane H. Wilder said they probably also need an exorcism. They'd probably need an Olympic-sized pool of holy water to get the demons out. Yeah, just waterboard them with holy water at that point.
I mean, has that been done in a movie? I feel like that's got to be done in a movie. That's going to come up.
It'll be the movie about my life.
It'll be the next Russell Crowe, like Avengers style film. He'll have been kidnapped by Satan's demons.
No, that'll be like John Wick Exorcist.
Yes, and they'll be waterboarding him in holy water, and then they'll be starving him with just nothing but one a day.
Or you can do Chinese water torture with holy water.
There you go.
Just keep slow release until the demons leave. The Rumbling said, Phil, how do you feel about travel Roku since you tour often? This is something that Brett does. He takes a Roku with him to travel. Do you do this?
I have no idea what Roku is.
A Roku is like, do you have a smart TV?
I do.
It's like it's a thing that makes your TV a smart TV. So
no.
It's what they used to plug in before smart TVs had everything built in.
No.
You don't?
No, I don't, because anything that I want to watch is on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch, and you can get Netflix on your phone. I don't watch very many Netflix.
Watch on teeny tiny
episodes.
screen. I'm not doing that. Sorry.
I have my computer. Most TVs you can cast from your phone to the TV.
Brett refuses to do
I don't
this.
cast.
I don't. Well, that's great for you, Brett. I don't watch a lot of episodic TV. The episodic TV that I do watch, I watch with my girlfriend, and so if she's not there, I'm not watching it. I'm just watching YouTube videos. So no, I don't.
Fair enough.
It was a big point of discussion yesterday. I refuse to be shamed for bringing a Roku with me when I travel.
I wouldn't. I could not be bothered to have an opinion on your Roku.
Fair enough.
I can be bothered.
What?
I will have.
She was very taken aback and shocked by my decision.
Yeah, you should be ashamed of that.
Nope.
Pop Culture Junkie said you folks ought to apply the cultural vibe shift meter to the Academy Awards the next day. Might be interesting. Are we going to see the vibe shift taking place at the Oscars?
No.
That would be the last place you'll find it. Shane H. Wilder said, I learned after the Village People played during the inaugural events that only 2 of the many members in the band's history were actually gay.
Yep. That was I talked about that when I did a solo video on a couple months back when the guy who wrote it talked about being okay with Trump doing the song now, and he said it was like a misnomer that people believe that it was some type of gay anthem. He said it was never meant that way because he wrote it with, I believe, another guy who was gay, but he was the main writer and he owns the song. Like he legally owns the song, and he is not gay. And like
that doesn't mean the song isn't about gay life. He literally, there is a quote where he said that it's entirely a song about gay life.
He has walked that back.
If he walked it back, that's fine. You can walk it back all you want, but it's definitely a song about gay guys having sex at YMCA. I mean, that's definitely what it is. And I'm pretty sure he was the only straight member of the band. I was just researching this the other night.
They just said only 2 members in the band were
that
gay,
sounds like fake
and there's
news.
way more than 2 people.
That sounds like fake news to me. Just because I'm free sent us a 20. Used to think Mary was all sweet and innocent. Then she started assaulting everyone with these cringes and disgusting topics and torturing us. I'm so disillusioned now. Thank you. And you're welcome.
A 5th crisis party.
The dogs are eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. We're eating the dogs. We're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
Well, the world is a very debauched and degenerate place right now. So if we're going to be talking about the culture, that's what it is. Brian Bledsoe said Mary definitely has that don't F with me stare. That's a good thing to have.
Yep, it is.
I use it to my advantage. Shane H. Wilder said, to add to my last chat, Victor Willis, lead vocals, is married with kids and said YMCA is not a gay song and he would sue anyone who said it was.
Damn, that's a...
He did say that.
He
did say that. But you know, he
Now I'm
did
wondering if
also
he's-
say that it's a gay song.
Now I'm wondering if he's like doth protest too much.
You know what? Sue me. Sue me, dude. If you're watching this, it's a gay song. It's a gay anthem. Sue me. I'm waiting. Pop Culture Junkie said, what's interesting about Iger visiting Mar-a-Lago is that Trump's next door neighbor is Ike Perlmutter, former Marvel chairman, who Iger kicked out of Disney.
Yep, Trump and Ike Perlmutter have gotten along for years. In fact, it was a big point of contention at Marvel that he was very clearly friends with Donald Trump, and back, you know, in that office culture, that was not allowed.
They also mentioned in that Variety article that Disney's former communications director has now become the brand and communications director for TikTok and is lobbying for TikTok or on behalf of TikTok to the Trump administration. Stefan Buttle said, proctologist, someone call the ass man.
That is a reminder that probably the greatest theme song ever in WWE history was Billy Gunn's Ass Man theme song. It is the funniest thing you'll ever hear in your entire life. Go listen to it if you haven't. If you grew up listening or watching WWE, go and listen to Billy Gunn's theme song. It's literally called "I'm an Ass Man." That's all the lyrics to the song.
Shane H. Wilder said, here's how I know Mary is strong in her Catholic faith. If she wasn't, then she would go crazy researching the OnlyFans horrors. Your sacrifice is noted. Well, yeah, I'm doing this all as a service to you. Recognize that I have made a sacrifice for the content. I live for the content. Stefan Buttle said it was 1,000,000 to 1 shot, Doc. 1,000,000 to 1.
There's
I don't know what that is. A reference to.
The thing about now watch this. You're gonna have to cover more stories about this stuff now because your Catholic faith is so strong. You're gonna be like, we got to find more stories like this, and more women like them are going to come out of the woodwork because there's so much attention given to these stories when they come up. I mean, it's not like it was just in these circles that these stories were popular. Everyone was covering stuff like this, and it ends up on the front page of the Daily Mail. So you're going to get more copycats, like the lady in Turkey who got arrested.
I think talking about it, directing focus to it just for the sake of shock value does more harm than good. But talking about these women and all of these stories related to OnlyFans as a way to talk about the social ailments involved, that I believe is constructive. That's
Well,
the reason why I will do it.
The number one thing that people say whenever you cover anything like that is like, stop giving them attention, just let the story die. And
It doesn't do that.
It doesn't work really, especially if it's like you're in the ecosystem where that's your whole job is to
We've
have an
actually
opinion.
gotten countless comments like that on the channel saying about not just OnlyFans related things that we cover, but pretty much anything in Hollywood. They're like, stop talking about Hollywood, then it'll die out.
Yeah.
That is delusional. That is not going to happen. And
It's like when people say, who cares? And I was like,
Yeah.
well, you clicked on the video, so
Or like-
clearly somebody cares.
they are admitting that they care.
And there are times where I've said that, like in passing, just maybe because I'm just not doing my job well and I don't have a strong enough opinion on something. I'm like, who cares? But then I immediately am like, well, clearly people care. Otherwise, there wouldn't be attention paid to these things.
Right.
So that's actually me just not doing my job well enough. When I'm just like, I don't freaking know. Who cares?
Or
who
like
cares?
me tweeting about Lana Del Rey or some other celebrity, there's always at least one person who's like, I don't know who that is,
Yes,
and
they-
I'm proud of it.
They love like, what is a so and so? Who is what is
But it's like, you definitely have heard of Lana Del Rey, and if you were at gunpoint right now, you would admit that you know she's a singer, okay? Don't be facetious
She's
with
awesome
me.
too. I don't
And
care what
she's
anyone
great.
Says. She's
Yeah.
awesome.
I will not be having the slander. If that was happening on Timcast, I'm gonna have to correct the record.
What is a chapel roan?
Sarah texted me and she said that she reminded me that they were complaining about she has a stage name. I don't know why.
They're complaining about the fact that she has a stage name?
Yeah, because she had a different name before or something like that. A lot of times,
Well, her name is Elizabeth Grant.
people knee-jerk complain about pop stars.
Mhm.
Especially in this space, like they're just like, oh, pop star, they're in Hollywood, automatically bad. So
Yeah, that's really cringe. That's very like curmudgeonly. And if you want to be relevant and be able to change the culture, you can't just
yeah,
automatically poo-poo everything
Yeah.
about it.
Two more there.
Shane H. Wilder said, stop talking about Hollywood, then there'd be no show. Exactly. We want to have a show. Rusty, the Reckless Optimist, said, just wanted to pop in and say I love All That Remains. Can't wait for the new record. PCC forever.
Phil says thank you.
Yeah. Cheers, man.
All right.
31st.
All right.
Humming.
Guys, before we go, hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed here yet already. Phil, thank you.
You guys, I appreciate you checking us out. I am Phil That Remains on Twix. You can subscribe to my page there. I'm Phil That Remains Official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. Like I said, the 31st of this month, Anti-Fragile is available. You can go check out Forever Cold, Let You Go, No Tomorrow, Divine on YouTube, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, and Deezer. Go to Spotify and pre-save right now. Pre-save the record. It's only a week and a day away. Don't forget the Left Lanes for Crime.
All right.
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
There's one more here from Just Because I'm Free. Says, if it's not rock from the late 90s to the 2000s, I don't know and don't care. Anyway, I'm going to go grill some steak with sweet potato fries on the side. I was always more of a Stone Cold Steve Austin guy, if that's what you're talking about, but that's just me personally. And if I'm being completely honest right now, I'm not listening to a lot of pop culture entertainment news. I've been watching just endless episodes of Chris Van Vliet's wrestling podcast where he has on wrestlers and does long form interviews, which I'm very much enjoying. So there's one more here from Greg Duvier. You got that one?
Yes. Most people you talk about, I had no idea who they were until I watched this show. Yes, that includes Lana Del Rey.
Okay.
Well, you're welcome. We're educating the people.
All right. If you guys want to follow me, Instagram and Twix, at Brett Dastovic on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, guys, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than watch the show, rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. It helps the show a lot. And if you want to follow the show on social media, Twix, at popculture_show, Facebook, at popculturecrisis, Instagram, at popculturecrisisPod. Guys, we'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.